everyone, it's Lexie and welcome to FuturePlay. And today we're going to be talking with an FPV Racing pilot, Britny.
Hi! Also known as Siren.
Also known as Siren, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for having
share
me.
all of the links to her stuff below. So we can go and follow her. She's putting some really awesome stuff in here. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. And with a little bit of an issue going on there, we've been doing great though.
Yeah.
We're doing great. Couple of questions to you so we can share your amazing story in FPV racing. So yeah, how did you start flying FPV?
Well, I started off as a person just watching it on the other side of YouTube. And after about 6 months of following some freestyle pilots and feeling like, wow, this is amazing what they're doing, I realized I no longer could be on the other side of the camera. And I had to go travel to whatever drone event I could get my hands on. And so in 2019, I decided to volunteer 100% of my time at the International Open of Drone Racing in Muncie, Indiana, which actually, Lexie, funny enough, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but that's where I met you first time. So that was a pretty awesome
I remember that.
Yeah. Yep. And
so this is where we met. This is where we met. And you were not flying at the time at all, I think.
Correct. Yep. I had no gear. I had no knowledge even how to build, well, sort of, but no hands-on experience at all until I started volunteering. And luckily enough, actually, Joe Scully, who's the kind of world famous announcer for drone racing, you know, arm your quads in 3, 2, 1. And I was lucky enough to be under his wing for that entire setup process at 2019 International Open.
Joe is amazing.
Very lucky.
Yeah, so how was the journey after that for you?
The journey, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted to be doing what people like yourself and other racers were doing, as well as people like, I watched Jonathan Davis, or Schizo, who's now a friend of mine, and I really wanted to be doing that, so I figured I just needed to be of service first and offer anything I could do to help and not ask for anything in return. And that led to me being here today as one of many pilots on our all-female international drone racing team, Mach 1. So the journey, there's a lot that's happened between then and now.
Yes, that's true. Okay. So when did you actually build your first drone or bought it? I haven't really followed that closely after the International Open. So what was going on there?
That's a good question. So my first drone actually it was in 2019 as well, and but it was later at another event.
Okay.
The Mid-America Throwdown, which was held in Indiana. Yeah. Indianapolis, Indiana. And there was one of the hosts of the race was putting it on, and I was just in the tent kind of working on anything that people would give me, and he came by and he set a quad down. I should have actually had it ready for this interview, but he set a quad down in front of me, and it had a Red Bull like chrome casing on it, and he said, if you can change out the receiver in this to match what I have here, you can have this drone. So I had to, and I said, oh my gosh, I would have just done that for fun. And so that was my way of earning my first 5-inch quad, which is now, with how fast our technology is moving, it's such an old quad now. So it's kind of like more nostalgic centerpiece than it is for good racing and flying. Yeah.
That's true. Wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was honored, honestly.
Kind of jealous.
Yeah, thanks.
That's so cool. So how did you start to train for the drone racing though? Like, did you just decide, okay, now I have a drone, so I'm just gonna crash all over the place? Or did you have any type of an idea of how to train? How did it go?
Question. Actually, I started because you and I had met and you'd given me your phone number and said, hey, anytime you have any questions. And I may have reached out at one point, I don't recall. But I actually ended up following and watching your videos and learned a couple of things. And one of the things I remember you saying, one of the things I remember you saying, I know, I felt the same way, was you were asking the question, you know, stick time is stick time, and that adds up, and that's good. But you need good stick time, or what is good stick time for you? And that's really stuck with me. So basically making sure that I'm taking the right apex, or staying close to gates, or where I'm trying to hit my hole. So from there, I decided to just race with pilots in the area. One of the first practices I did was with a friend of mine, pilot handled Toothless, Mike Olivier. Actually, it was in his yard in Wisconsin where I was able to start my first practices. And well, he was really encouraging, and he was talking me up a little bit, and I'm like, are you sure? I thought I'm making it look windier than it is. Like, and it worked out right away, but there was a long road ahead of me to get better. So with that good stick time.
That's so amazing. Oh, now I feel a little bit blushed.
Good.
Kind of like, was not ready for this one. Oh my God. I should prepare better for
it helped
interviews right now.
Yeah.
Did not see it coming. So that's great. And how did you get involved in Mach 1?
Yeah, that's, you know, I've known Diane, who's our team manager, and I've known her just on the racing scene, because I'm showing up to almost every large event that Multi-GP puts on each year, which is about 4 to 5, if I recall correctly. Oh yeah, so I show up to each of those, and just by, it's kind of like having like 4 or 5 family reunions from your international family, where you get to meet up with them about 5 times a year. So that's how I got to kind of know Diane, and I also knew a couple of the other gals who are now on our team, including yourself. So I think it all kind of, it's like this beautiful like pattern of networking that ends up coming into our lives, and we find ourselves surrounded by people that seems like it's such a big coincidence. And I think there's more to it. I think we're all drawn to each other in this energy. So I would have to say that it was by mathematical fate that I ended up here on Mach 1 and all together as we are.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that you are there. I mean, the whole team is amazing. So, and there's so many girls to follow in there, but just, we're gonna focus on you here. So what do you actually like about racing?
There's just...
It's a hard question, I know.
It is, because there's so much, you know, your heart is, it's like, why do you love the person you love, right? Why do you love your mom and dad? There's this innate, it's like, once I put those goggles on, and I think competition has always just been in my blood, it's really fun to excel, not only against others, but against yourself. And being an individual and somewhat of a team sport, you can really see the gains that you have on an individual level. And I think that's just such a nice like dopamine boost in my head every time I get in there, and I'm like, okay, I just hit another lap, and I'm listening to the timer, and okay, I need to cut off a few more seconds, and then thinking about the next, where I can cut those off in like a split-second time. So the challenges and having to...
You know how to think?
Yeah, it's challenging my brain. It's like...
To be fair, when I fly, I cannot think. If I think, I'm gonna crash.
Sure, okay.
Like, it's not happening.
That makes sense, actually. It's, so I was a pitching coach for a long time in softball, and there was a point where I no longer had to think, because I had enough good time in doing it where it became more natural. So it's almost like you've gotten to the point, if I had to guess, where your body and brain know the moves and know what to do, and if you trust that, maybe it's more fluid than if you're thinking about it. For me, I'm still on more of the novice side, where I have to kind of make a lot more larger changes to kind of make it work. So
okay, that makes sense. I was already jealous that you can think. And it sounds stupid, I know. It sounds really stupid to say, wow, you can think? Oh, this is interesting.
It makes sense.
But I think this is something in drone racing. Whenever I think, I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't be thinking, and then I crash
Like telling
into
yourself.
something.
Yep.
Or there's this last thought in which I realize I'm on a really wrong lane and I'm gonna hit the flag, but it's too late, and all I can think of is, oh well.
Yeah, that's right.
But there is no thinking. It's the silence in my head. It's either music or it's nothing.
Yeah, that's
It's
excellent.
just silence.
That's like master level
Yeah, it's
meditative.
just turning off your brain.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But you are so focused. Like my heart rate is going super up because I'm having my watch, and you can see whenever I was flying.
Yeah.
And you can also see the final because it gets to cardio.
Yep. That's so funny. Oh, thought of that for the watches to be able to. Yeah, that's another edge on your game right there, to be able to kind of measure and see what's happening to you. Wow. I love that. Smart.
Yeah, so before the races, I actually try to do some meditation as well, just to kind of calm myself down.
Smart.
So we can literally see it on my watch because it checks my cardio all the time. So it goes like really, really down, and it goes really, really up.
It's like, good night.
Just so insane.
That is funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you are relaxed. Not anymore. So yeah, this happens to me a lot. So how do you deal with the racing stress? Because it's not just that you put on goggles and everyone flies and it's happy. It's stressful.
Yeah, it is very stressful, and kind of like what we were dealing with our troubleshooting here before. That's sometimes what happens, and you're under the gun when you need to go up. Like, you might have a quad issue, and your quad just worked a second ago, and your tests worked. Or you just have a new build, and there's as you know very well, there are 1,000,001 things that can happen. And so stress comes with the territory. And how I've engaged with that stress is to reframe it for me. So sometimes I get annoyed because I'm like, well, I just missed this heat because I don't have two of my quads all of a sudden don't work. And it's stressful, but you also get kind of mad. You get kind of angry because there's this expectation, and then the reality is different, and you want this. So I try to reframe it. When I get a little angry about it, I'll say things to myself like, "You get to do this," and that actually comes from another wonderful pilot, volunteer, and multi-GP volunteer, Roger, and he is just a positive light, and he's always keeping his head about him. So when he told me, you get to do this at Ice Storm Racing 2021, that really stuck with me. So just reframing it allows me to help with the stress. I like the idea of meditation. That's a nice idea, just to get your brain kind of in a peaceful state, even if your heart rate's about to go back up again. But yeah, just a reframe.
Yeah, it actually helps, especially at the beginning when you are in the finals and everyone starts at one time and they just crash straight in front of you and you just continue because you were not as stressed to start at the same time.
Yeah.
Just wait this 1 second.
Yeah.
This is how I actually got through a lot of finals, by the way.
That's a nice tip.
Just not crashing at the beginning.
Yeah. So did you wait?
It's a second. It's literally a second of waiting, but whenever everyone starts at one time, and yes, I know that they may be doing a rerun because it was in front of the first gate, but they still crashed and they may have destroyed their drones. Well, I'm just there waiting for this 1 second. I see everyone starting and then I start. Yeah. And usually it's minimal enough that I can catch up. No problems at all, because everyone's really afraid for this first time if they will crash.
Yep.
So I'm just waiting, and while they are stressed that if I crashed or not, I'm just going through the entire thing.
Yep.
And sometimes the people crash, and like my spotter is usually telling me who crashed, how many people crashed. So if like 5 people crashed in my heat, I know I don't have to stress that much. So it's also really important to have like the spotter that can talk to you about certain things and you know how to talk to them. So yeah, get yourself a spotter and raise them well.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think that strategy of yours to stay at the starting block a second after makes sense when it comes to closer to the finals, because that means that those pilots got there because their apexes and their lines throughout the whole course are very similar. So I would imagine there's a game theory percentage you could put on that for your chances of staving off a crash with that 1 second. That's actually pretty smart. Yeah, makes sense.
So that's how I usually do it. And for some time when I was racing in Germany, some of the pilots were saying that they hate being in the finals race with me because they don't know where I am. Because they are like, is she in front of me? Is she behind me? Did she crash? She probably didn't crash, but what does it mean? Where is she?
You're already in their head. That's
and then
nice.
Sometimes they see my purple quad. Yeah, I'm already in their head just by being there.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting that a couple of pilots actually told me that when they are in a hit with me, they are kind of like, where is she? What is going on?
Do you think that's because...
Yeah, that's fun. It's like, I like being in your head.
Good, yeah, exactly. Do you think that that's because you're a female in a sea of other male drone pilots where they're paying attention to you and wondering where you are? Or do you think that there's another element to that? Because you wait behind.
Apparently I was scary for a while. I think they were scared because I was waiting behind. And some of the people knew that I was waiting behind for everyone to crash in front of me. And it's interesting, but for some time, I remember people didn't like being in a hit with me because if something happened to them, people would tell them, oh, you lost against the girl.
Sure. It's an extra little stab to the heart, yeah.
This was happening.
I could see that.
Yeah, little stab to the heart. And then, you know me. It's hard to guess it through the camera, but I'm really tiny. I'm really like wearing my skirt, being kind of cute, just walking around, skipping throughout the entire thing, coming in, being like, hi, I'm Lexie. And then I'm just coming in for the race and on the track, when we put the drones in, I'm usually telling people, we're not friends anymore.
I love that.
For this thing, like, we're not friends.
No longer friends.
And then when we come back after the race, I'm just like, okay, we can be friends again.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's going on there? So yeah, I kind of tried to keep my image of being a little bit insane.
Hey, that's good. Anything that is a different method from what most people do, and if you're showing that it works, that is scary and intimidating. So they're like, what witchcraft is this?
Yes. And sometimes people were like, where's this purple one?
Where's the purple?
Because everything on my quad was purple. Yeah, so I think once on the finals, I heard someone, I just took someone over and they were like, Lexie, no! Because they saw that it was purple and they were like, no.
No, Lexie, they just knew it was you.
So that was actually hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's fine. So yeah, that's the fun times of racing. I miss it so much actually now that I talk about all of those.
When's the last time you went to a race?
2022.
Yeah, 22. All right. Well, I suppose you have other forms of aircraft racing going on as well, and simulations, I imagine.
Yeah, the flying car really took over. So I'm kind of just thinking that I won't be able to catch up and be so intimidating in drone racing anymore.
That is a thought.
I would need a lot of training for that.
I suppose coming back.
So I'd rather go out as a legend, you know?
Yeah. Well, and every year there's like a new 15-year-old coming up who's gonna take the... We always joke, like at Champs this last year, we say none of the top 20 people are over 20. Like, it's pretty rare to have someone who's in their 30s.
I'm old.
How old are you? I'm forgetting.
I'm old. I'm 50.
Yeah, same here. So yeah, we are in the drone world. We are considered ancient.
We're old.
This is what old looks like.
That's true. So how do you deal with being ancient? Yes, this is what old looks like. So how do you deal with, with just seeing that there's this 15-year-old just crashing everyone and you're just there behind being like, oh, well.
Well, that's when I go back to my groupie days, like I was when I was a person watching YouTube. I honestly, I just go to admire these kids, and they are children, 15, 14. And a couple of my favorites, I'll name Jake Hammer. He's someone who really inspires me, maybe just with with the support his family also brings, because I'm always seeing his dad there and his mom showing up. So that's something I really like, not to mention his incredible knack for talent. He was also mentored by multiple co-pilot friends of mine, and that's someone who's really grown throughout the years. So I like to watch and follow those guys, and it's kind when you see someone grow up in a field that you love so much, in a sport that you love, there's just something in your heart that pulls on your strings. And another person I really would like to mention, because I just befriended him, and he's from Germany actually, Lucas, and his his pilot handle is Kryson. So he was definitely top 10 this year at Champs, and I want to say he was at least in the top 5. So, and I had never met him before, and we spoke a little German back and forth. I don't know much or anything at all about German, but and I'm pretty sure that's where you're from, correct? Germany?
Yeah, I know Lucas.
Yeah. Oh, you know him! Oh my gosh, he's so funny.
I do.
He's like a little buddy. Yeah. So it was nice to meet him.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many really talented pilots. I really wish I could interview every single one of them.
Right.
But yeah, that's my thing.
Yep.
Okay, so just to not keep you too long, what would you say, what would you advise to people who just want to start their adventure with drone racing?
The first word that came to my mind immediately was support in your foundation. Having support, whether it's within yourself, right? Setting up yourself consistently to succeed. That's supporting yourself for the future. And then also including support from your community, reaching out to your community and having support there on feedback for builds, troubleshooting, updates, anything like that. And then family support's always a really nice one too, because it's when the people you have the most special impact with come to watch you do one of the most special things a person can do, which is drone racing in my mind. That kind of support is almost like there's just getting a little goosebumpy. So right now I'm ready to fly. So I would say support's a huge thing. The finance part when you're starting, because there's a lot that people could get discouraged about. And if it's not troubleshooting and how incredibly large the learning curve is on the technicality of some of these things, I'm actually certified solder in J620 space addendum space flight. So I've built custom space flight gear, and it's funny because I didn't have a background in aerospace, but I got the job because I taught myself how to build drones. So it's I
want to come back to that.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, that was really fun. Well, I started with the support, and I slowly worked my way into the financials and earning other things to learn how to build these drones. And then I honestly loved what I was doing so much. The work that I've been in is management and production for about 10 years. And I no longer wanted to do large manufacturing. I wanted to do more technical custom builds, and maybe not manage, but be a tech builder, a custom tech builder. And so I sought out the closest keywords and things I could find that related to what I loved with drones. And that brought me to, get accepted pretty quickly and move up pretty quickly in a company, an aerospace company in Minnesota. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I know it's the most peaceful thing ever. When I'm building, I'm looking at the blueprints and I'm building the harnesses, and I have my headphones in. I'm like a DJ. I'm like a wire DJ, just putting it all together, and it's just so peaceful and therapeutic. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so great. That totally got me off guard, by the way. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So that's another thing that, okay, I haven't thought of this, but yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do if you start doing drone racing and drones in general, and this can put you to other careers. So all of them in tech mostly. So this is another big thing. But yeah, coming back to my question of what would be the tips.
Having enough backup gear is really important, because when you're a novice in anything, there is, talk about a learning curve. There's also like a crash. It's like a materials curve. You need like investments or sponsors, which goes back to the support part, in order to really continue and do this and to maintain your pursuit in this and to not lose your oomph for it or burn out. So having backup parts and spare parts. So if you want to start too, I would say, and I never really thought about this, although I naturally kind of did this until you just asked, which is when you start, it might be a good idea to have more parts than what you feel you need, because you're gonna need them again. You're gonna need more, especially when you're pushing yourself to that next level. There will be a crash. The top pilots in the world, Min Chan, I've still seen him crash, and he's running 150.
Oh, we crash all the time.
Exactly, and I mean, basically the quads, when he crashes them, they go straight to Valhalla. I mean, those things die in battle, and they never.
Yeah, they do.
He's going so fast. So I would say, and he's running 150 packs a day to make sure he doesn't crash. So it's more rare than most. But still, even at the upper echelons, you will be cashing in your gear for more gear. So I would say have more than you think you need.
Yeah, I usually for the race take 3 drones and then enough parts to build another one with this. And then sometimes I end up with a Franken quad made out of those 3 quads and all the parts that I had.
Exactly.
For the final itself, Franken quad is great.
Yep, Franken quads are so like, it's surprising how much they come through. They're very, very clutch.
That's true. That's true. You would think that they would just die, but they're still dead. You're like, keep going. Okay, so that was one of the things.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what do you think is the future of Machina Sports? So everything human in the machine, for drone racing, maybe jet suits, flying cars, robot wars. What do you think is the future for that?
I think that there is so much that's possible in the future for this, more than I can articulate here in this interview. Although I will say one of the things, and my brain's kind of bouncing around with the things that I'm involved in lately, like AI, and I'm trying to understand the brain a little bit more on a technical level. And so I've heard about Neuralink, and then I'm thinking about AI, and I also think about the technology that is being used with airspeeder in the screens, where you're out in the middle of the desert, but there are basically, gates you can run through. Yeah, artificial gates you can run through that keep track, which is incredible. And I think about being able to no longer have a physical transmitter in your hand, and perhaps being able to speak in code with your drone.
Head only?
Yeah, flying with your brain. That's I'm not saying that that's anytime soon, but that's something I can imagine, and I wouldn't be surprised if it came to be.
That would be so cool, like X-Men Magneto, you're like, oh.
Yes. Or like Lucy, when she has like all the power of 100% of her brain and she can just like levitate. We are drones.
Yes. Yeah, drones. Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, speaking of we are drones, we're going to be soon going for like the Gravity Code jet suit. They have a race, so there's people that are drones.
Wow. Yeah, because that reminds me of those skydivers with like the squirrel suits. I don't know the technical name, but yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm not sure how it's called.
Yeah, like paragliders, but
yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, Britny, for joining us. All of the links to her socials are down below in the description if you want to give her a follow. And yeah, we're going to be talking more FPV with other people as well. This is exciting, and I wish you the best in your FPV journey. Maybe we're going to meet on the I.O. this year.
I'd love that. I go every year.
I may come eventually, but more like an audience.
Awesome. If not, I'll come find you.
Okay, thank you. Now I feel tracked. So yeah, thank you very much again for being here for this interview, and we're gonna see you in the next one, guys. So be sure to subscribe so you will get to more interviews with FPV pilots and more Machina Sports.
Thank you, Lexie. Bye.